Heroes of Warcraft.
Greetings all, this is the TKForce, the team-killing force of nature itself. And today I'm bringing you a video I like to call Let's Learn to Play Hearthstone. This is a video that's going to go at the beginning of my Hearthstone series playlist, and I realize I probably should have made something like this first, because when I'm playing the matches online, it's against actual people, so I don't really have time to go into the basics of what each of the types of cards do and stuff like that. And even if I did have the time, like if I wasn't using up my time trying to figure out what move I was about to play, I wouldn't want to take extra time explaining things and make my opponent wait while I talk, and they're wanting to take their turn. It's inconsiderate and un-Canadian of me to make them wait. So I thought that I would do a video here explaining different types of cards to people who would be interested in following my series that don't know how to play yet, so that they can still follow along and enjoy what's going on. Let's go into my collection here. There's always a little lag when you first select something in this, at least when you're recording, at any rate. So let's go to the very basics. There are three types of cards, really. You've got monster cards, you've got trap cards, and you've got spell cards. In this, though, yeah, a little Yu-Gi-Oh reference there. In this, though, monster cards are called minions, traps are called secrets, and spells are still called spells, because what else are you going to call them? Magic cards? You'll get sued by Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast. Not going to happen. So, ooh, I got a new Paladin card when that happened. Oh, I got a Golden Holy Light for leveling. Nice. Oh, I forgot. There's a fourth type of card. Good thing I went over to Paladin here. Weapons. Weapons are a type of card. I wouldn't call them minions, trap, or spell. So a weapon is something you can equip your own character with. So that's interesting. But first, I'd like to talk about minions. Let's go over the general here. Now, there are various special abilities that minions can have. One is called a battle cry. Battle cries are when your minion, right here in the tooltip, does something when you play it from your hand. So, in this case, with the Elven Archer, it has a battle cry that once I play it into the field from my hand, it deals 1 damage to some target of my choosing. That can be to a creature or the other player. That is why you might see me hold an Elven Archer back, because pinging a player with 1 damage often not as useful as damaging a minion, because like something like a Murloc Raider here, it only has 1 hit point. I could kill it entirely, not risk my creature. That's pretty useful. And that's probably why the Elven Archer has 1 less attack than said Murloc minion, because it has a useful battle cry that kind of trumps the Murloc Raider, in a way, if it goes down second. You see? We're learning. Okay, now another ability that you see sometimes. Let's go with the more common one, actually. Go with Taunt here. Enemies must attack this minion. That means that any any minion that you attack your opponent with, if they have this taunt up, you have to hit the taunt first. Like, if let's say you were attacking with the Elven Archer, you'd have to ram it into the Goldshire Footman. Although, that doesn't count for spells, hero abilities, or battle cries. So let's say that my opponent has the Murloc Raider in play and the Goldshire Footman. I put my Elven Archer in play, I can still target the Murloc Raider with my battle cry and kill it off. Okay? But taunt is quite useful for defending yourself against something like a Murloc Raider that's just going to run in and attack. Also, if you have a weapon in hand, like we talked about there, weapons allow your actual character to attack. And since, again, it's attacking, you have to hit the taunt first. Alrighty? Alrighty. Let's move on to a different ability again. The Divine Shield. First time this minion takes damage, ignore it. Basically, this minion only has 1 health, but since it has a Divine Shield, you could hit it with 7 damage, and it's just completely ignored. The minion's completely fine. It brings down the Divine Shield, but the minion itself still up and fine. Very handy little ability. And so that takes care of that. We'll move right along to Death Rattles. Does something when the minion dies. Okay. Also quite important. You see, in the case of the Leper Gnome here, one mana will summon it. It's a 2/1 creature. So it is just as good as the Murloc Raider. But it's actually a better card than the Murloc Raider because it has a death rattle and the Murloc Raider doesn't. It has the ability of being a Murloc, so in a Murloc deck, focus TK, focus. Explain the death rattle. So, but it has a death rattle. So, when it dies, your opponent is going to take 2 damage. And there's nothing they can do about that. So, you're at least going to get something out of playing this guy. 2 damage to your opponent. Even if for some reason you didn't get anything out of the minion other than that. Let's move on to classification, since we've got a nice example right here. This is classed as a Murloc. You see over here, this is also a Murloc. All other Murlocs have +1 attack. So if this is in the field, this becomes a 3/1 creature. Very handy. So, there is some use to making things like a Murloc deck, or flip the page for a second. See here, this is classified as a beast. Beasts can have certain synergy with each other, so making a beast deck can be useful. Same with pirates. There's a lot of creatures, like say the shield bearer for instance, that don't have any type of classification. So you can tell they're not going to have a lot of synergy with other cards unless it's through certain card abilities. Okay, here's another type of ability where it's not a battle cry, it's not a shield, it's not a death rattle, it's just there. It's here with this, with all the Murlocs get +1 attack. It's here with the Secret Keeper. Whenever a secret is played, it gains +1/+1. So those abilities, they're just effects that are constant. Nothing has to trigger them per se. So that pretty much explains minions and how the various minions end up working. Oh! Couple more here. Stealth. If you put this creature into play, since it has stealth, it can't be attacked or targeted until it deals damage. Because until it deals damage, it's like hiding in a bush or something. So you don't technically know it's there. I think it'd be kind of cool if you couldn't even see what type of minion it was until it attacked. But I don't know. For various balance reasons, that's probably too powerful or something. But, so that's interesting. Here's another one. It's called Wind Fury. Sorry, I forgot a bunch of the less common ones. Wind Fury means that this card can attack twice in a turn. Not all that useful for this one because it's only got 1 health. So it's probably going to kill itself on anything that attacks, unless it's attacking the player. Because creatures, even if you have a weapon equipped, a creature will not take damage by hitting you. Because, I don't know, you sheath your weapon at the end of your round or something. So that you're not actually a threat during your opponent's round. So you can slam in and do 2 damage with this card to your opponent instead of 1 by doing 2 attacks. Or you could do 1 attack against the opponent and then trade the card for, say, his Stone Tusk Boar here and take it out of the equation. So you've done a point of damage and you've eliminated a creature in the same round with the same creature. Let's see here. I believe there was another ability that I was... Aha, here we go. Enrage. This is an ability that once the creature is taking damage, it gets this. So if it takes 1 or 2 points of damage, it'll still be alive. And it'll then have a +3 to attack. So it'll become a 5/2 or a 5/1 creature. Interesting to note, creatures don't heal in this unless you heal them in some way. So once it takes that damage, it's gone for good. As opposed to Magic the Gathering, where the creatures are at full health and you have to deal all that damage to them in 1 round to kill them. Alright? It's alright. Alrighty, what else do we have here? Can't attack. There's one more ability that I wanted to discuss at least. Oh, here's one. Spell damage. This synergizes with your spell cards. Like Frostbolt in a mage deck does 3 damage. But let's say you had this creature out, it would then do 4 damage. Very simple, but possibly very, very important. 1 extra point of damage can make a lot of difference, really. Let's see. Anything else that I am forgetting? Taunt, battle cries. I think we've covered everything there now. No, one last one. I knew I remembered one more that I would forget again. Charge. This is a very important one. You have to be aware of this one, otherwise your opponent can do a surprising amount of damage to you that you didn't expect in the next round. This creature has charge. That means when you play it, it can attack immediately. Any other creature, as per like a lot of games, has a summoning sickness, if you will, where it can't attack the same round that it comes into play. Creatures with charge can, and should. Otherwise, why did you play them? Generally, they're going to have high damage and low health. They're going to be sort of like a suicide charger type dealie. But not always true. There are a few that have a lot of health, low damage, and charge. There's a few like that. Anyway, I believe that is all of the abilities that I wanted to talk about. Some creatures can have more than one ability, like this has Taunt and a Death Rattle. This has Spell Damage and a Battle Cry. But we've talked over what those things are already, so you can pretty much figure out that these things just have both of those abilities. And since there's nothing else really to go into in that, we'll move on to spell cards, which shouldn't take quite as long. Spell cards can do a number of things. From just doing straight damage, like with the Frostbolt here, to summoning like token creatures, like in the case of this one, that summons 2 0/2 minions with taunt. Nothing else really needs to be said about spell cards other than that. I mean, you play them and they have some sort of effect, as stated on the card. Not that hard to figure out, really. Next is the trap or secret cards, if you will. That works is you play one of them. Generally, like, one class will have a lot of secrets that have the same cost, so that your opponent can't figure out what exactly it is that you've done with your mana. So, like in the mage's case here, there's Ice Barrier. As soon as your hero is attacked, you gain 8 armor. Here's another one that when your opponent plays a minion, summon a copy of it. Here's one, when a minion attacks your hero, destroy it. So you place this and a little question mark is going to appear on your hero. And then when your opponent does the action that says that it will trigger the card triggers and does the thing. It's kind of like setting up a spell card in advance that is triggered by something specific. That's really all there is to say about secrets. I think that in that, you now pretty much know all there is to know about the various types of cards. So let's have a quick practice game against the computer and maybe show you some of these things in action. Oh wait, actually, before I do that, I should go over one more type of spell effect, really, which is called Silence. Silences a minion. In other words, like it says, removes all card text and enchantments. So if you say use that on a Northshire Cleric here, that has whenever a minion is healed, draw a card, it would no longer perform that function, because that text would have been removed from it. Also, certain spells that are would call buffs, like this one, give a minion +2 health. That would make this a 1/5 creature that made it so that whenever you healed a minion, you draw a card. Let's say that you had that, you know, +2 health, and has that ability, and then your opponent hits it with silence. Suddenly, it's a 1/3 without any abilities. So he's got rid of its power, and he's nullified your spell card that you used to buff it up. One last thing that I forgot about till now, basically, because it only actually is something for the rogue, is called a combo. Combo is a bonus effect if you already have played a card this turn. So if I already play a card before I summon, say, Defias Ringleader here, it would also summon a 2/1 Defias Bandit kind of token creature. So it's kind of like a battle cry in this case that only happens if I've played a card before this card. Oh, and here we have weapons, which allow you to have your character attack for a certain amount of damage. I'll talk more about those towards the end of the episode when I talk about hero abilities, specifically the rogue one. Let's go to back, go to practice, and we'll choose our custom mage deck. We'll play against the Shaman. Shaman brings a lot of totems into play, so they can have a lot of different abilities that might be handy for the demonstrating phase of this. Shaving, bribing the guards, it's all very important. Procedures
versus Thrall.
for beginning a card game.
You asked for it.
Okay, this is fine. I have 3 minions, all with a battle cry in my starter hand. Now, let me explain the starter hand. If I didn't like one of these cards, I could click it. That would put an X on it. It would throw it back into the deck. I happen to like all these cards. Just for showsy's sake, I'm going to put an X there. Oh, okay, actually I don't have to... I didn't even know that. You can un-X it if you change your mind. So if I X it like that and hit confirm, that would throw it back into the deck, and I'd get a fresh card replacing it. I don't want that. I like these cards. I like them just fine, so I'm going to confirm them. Okay. So, I'm going first, which means that my opponent gets an extra card, and they get a card called the coin as well, so that on their turn, they could play that coin, and it will give them 1 extra crystal for that turn, only. So, next turn, if they play their coin, they'll have 2 mana crystals, but 1 is only for that turn. Mana crystals are shown down here, and spent on various things. Like, I have 2 cards that use 1 mana. So I could use either of those, and it would use up my mana crystal. Let's say I had the coin, though. I'd play the coin, I'd then have 2 mana crystals, and I could play the Murloc Tidehunter. And then one of the crystals would disappear, because it was a fake one from the coin, and the other one would be used up. And I'd have a Murloc Tidehunter in play, along with a 1/1 Murloc Scout, because that's the battle cry effect of this. We following? Good, good. Alrighty. The fact is that The spells I can play are more useful if they do something to a minion that he's played. So I don't really want to play either of them. I just want to sit on my hand and wait. If there ever is a time where you want to sit on your hand and wait after you have 2 mana, though, you can use your hero power. Hero powers cost 2 mana, and they have a different effect for each hero. I'll talk about these 2 heroes right now. I can tell you after this match what the other hero powers will do. This one, for 2 mana, deals 1 damage to a target of your choosing. Pretty good. It's not very efficient because there is a spell called Frostbolt, have it in my deck somewhere, that does 3 damage to a target of my choosing for 2 mana. So, why ever use this? Because it doesn't use a card, and cards are valuable resources. Since they're valuable resources, I'm not even going to use any of them. I'm going to pass my turn to my opponent. He's just an AI, so I don't care that I just made him wait a whole bunch. Well, I explained everything. Okay, he used his coin and his mana crystal to summon 2 creatures for 1 mana each. He's back down to having just 1 mana crystal that's used, because one of them came from the coin. Since it's round 2, I've gained another mana crystal. You gain a mana crystal each round. So you can play more things, and you can play more expensive things. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cast this spell card. Deals 3 damage, randomly split among enemies. So it's going to shoot out 3 bolts, each doing 1 damage. Random targets. My hope is I'll hit at least one of these creatures and not hit him 3 times in the face, because each of the creatures he played only has 1 hit point. I'd like to ideally kill them off for just 1 mana. I killed one, I killed the other, and I hit him 1 in the face. I could not ask for better results than that. I just killed 2 of his cards and did a damage to him with 1 of my cards, basically nullifying the coin he used, nullifying those cards, just for 1 mana and 1 card. I came out of that great. That was a great trade for me. I could pop this down, I'd get some board presence, I'd do 1 more damage to him, but what if he has another creature that has 1 health, and I want to use this battle cry later on? Can't do it, gonna have to save it. End turn.
Someone call for the doctor.
You see what I mean? Another creature with 1 health. That is why we save our Elven Archer.
1 shot, 1
We use its battle cry to deal 1 damage. We've taken out that minion. And now I still have 2 mana left to play either this to get some card draw, or this to get some more board presence. They're both really tempting. I'm going to go with more board presence, because this battle cry will not only bring in, this card will not only bring in a 2/1, its battle cry will bring in a 1/1. So now I have 3 creatures on the board, he has none. Let's end my turn and see what he does now. Now he's brought out a taunt. You can see it's easy to tell the difference between a taunt and a not taunt, because it's got kind of a shield backing to it, showing that, you've got to hit this. It's defending. All other creatures have kind of a circular background to them. Okay, let's see, what do I want to do? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hero power. It'll take 2 of my 4 mana and bring him down to 1 hit point. Now, I just have to sacrifice one of my 1/1 creatures and finish him off. That way, I can attack the opponent directly. First, I'll play this. For the last of my 2 mana,
like my invention.
it'll allow me to draw another card. Cards are valuable resources, people. Get some card draw going. Always important. Now,
I'll give it a shot.
we can slam him in the face with what we have left. We're sitting pretty pretty right now. Or fairly pretty. That's probably better English. We'll end our turn and see what responds. Ah, a 3/1 charge. Goes right for my life points directly. Ouchie! Okay, but since it's just a 1 mana, 1 health creature, I can take it out with just my hero power now, at risking any of my creatures. None of these cards are really useful right now. Can't afford this one, otherwise it would be handy. Got nothing to hit with these ones. Really, well, I could hit him in the face with the fireball, but I don't have enough mana for that. This is the only one I have enough mana for now. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I could cast it, but he has no enemy minions. So again,
If you're sure.
just time to hit him in the face.
I'll give it a shot.
And wait and see what happens next.
Get behind me.
Again, he's played a taunt. So I have to get by it in some fashion. The easiest way is to just use this fireball and slam it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. It'll do 6 damage, 2 more than is necessary, but getting rid of his little beefy taunt guy is worth it. Now, all I have enough left for is really hero power him in the face, and continue to
If you're sure.
attack him directly
I'll give it a
with my
shot.
minions here. And slowly, we're whittling him down.
Handle it!
Okay, he's played a Raid Leader and Wind Fury. Now, the Raid Leader buffs up his other creatures by 1 attack, making that Murloc a little beefier than it otherwise would be. Let's see, how are we going to get efficient trading here? I know. If I cast this Arcane Explosion, it'll do 1 damage to each of his creatures, completely destroying one and reducing the other to 1 health. Next, I can use my hero power to finish off that creature. Then, I can either play this for another creature on the board and 1 card draw, or play this spell to draw 2 cards. I'm going to play the spell to draw 2 cards because I can. Handy.
Oh, if you're sure.
Now hitting him in the face
I'll
time
give it
again.
a shot.
Okay, that creature has charge. That totem. Ah, that was a smart play, actually, by the AI. It actually used its 1/1 with charge to get rid of my 2/1. Very nice. Okay, this totem that it used has an ability that heals all friendly minions, let's see, by 1 health at the end of each turn. So that could be very handy. He could have a taunt, and as I'm trying to wail away and bring it down or something, he could keep healing it. If I'm trying to pick something off with my fire power, starting to try to pick it off turn by turn, you know, or something, it's going to keep healing it turn by turn, so I'm going to have to do a lot of damage right away. So it's a handy little ability. Other things he can summon is a totem that will give him +1 spell power, a taunt totem that will have 2 hit points that I'll have to smash my way through to actually hurt anything. And the last one is a totem that actually can attack. It's just a 1/1 creature. So that's, I think, why I don't like playing the Shaman very much. They're a little RNG because the totems they summon, when they use that ability, it's a random totem. So I don't know what I'm going to get, and that concerns me. Now I know what I'm going to get, though. I'm going to get a Reckless Rocketeer and slam it into his face. Then, just
I'll give it a shot.
because I can, I'll get rid of his
Oh,
totem,
if you're
because
sure.
that increases the chance that if he uses it again, he'll just get this totem, which isn't much use to him. It'll keep him from bringing up a blocker next round, or increasing the chances of him bringing up a blocker. Then I'll play this
Hope you like my invention.
for a little more draw. And an answer card. If he drops down something beefy, I can then turn it into a 1/1 sheep. So that's pretty handy. End my turn.
Get behind me.
Okay. Well, he lucked into the taunt. And he also did put down something beefy. Do we have an answer for that? Oh, you better believe we have an answer for that. First, we sheep this. Then, we Arcane Explosion and do 1 damage to all of the enemy minions. Alrighty. Then, what do we do then? Yes. Then, we use our hero power to knock 1 off of that. He has 9 health, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, not quite enough. Not quite
Sure. Give it a
enough.
shot.
But
If you're sure.
I've got this 1 mana arcane missile. And remember when I told you it's more valuable to hold these types of things to deal with creatures sometimes? Well, if he's just got 1 hit point left, end it. And that's game. Oh yes, an important thing. We didn't get to turn 10, but once you get to 10, that's the maximum amount of mana crystals you can have. You'll never get higher than 10 mana crystals per round, so you can never summon more than 10 mana worth of something of each round. You win, you gain some XP. As you gain XP, you eventually unlock new cards, like level 20, I'll unlock another golden arcane intellect. It's just a little cosmetic thing, makes my arcane intellect spells look a little shiny, which is cool. I'm into shiny things. So, let's just... Oh, no. I know what I want. Practice. Practice makes perfect, people. Here we go, the basic decks. Let me just tell you what the various hero powers do. 2 mana, the warrior gains 2 armor. Armor is basically a... it's health at the moment. because nothing bypasses armor. But armor, you can stack that up over your maximum of 30 health. Yes, you have a maximum of 30 health. Healing spells won't put you above that. Armor, however, can put you above 30. So you can have 30 health, and you can have 10 armor, and basically you have 40 hit points at that point. Shaman, we talked about its ability. Summons a random totem. I told you about the totems. Enough said. Rogue. Hero power equips a 1/2 dagger. Basically with weapons, the thing is that they have the damage they do, which in this case is 1, and then they have their durability, which is in this case 2. So when you spend 2 mana, you get a dagger that you can swing that does 1 hit point of damage twice before you have to resummon it to use it again. Paladine. Hero power summons a 1/1 Silver Hand recruit. Just a 1/1 token creature, no special abilities whatsoever, making it the worst creature in the game. A 1/1 for 2 mana, but at least it's something you can do if you don't really have anything other creatures to play in your hand at the moment. So, could be handy. Hunter. The Hunter deals 2 damage to the enemy hero. So it does 2 damage as opposed to like the mage you saw that does 1. But the Hunter can only target the enemy hero. It can't actually target minions with this. Druid. Druid kind of summons a weapon in a way. Basically, till the end of turn, once you use it, you get +1 attack, which in effect allows you to do a damage. It also gives you +1 armor. So if you, say, attacked into a Silver Hand recruit, that's a 1/1 creature, you would kill it with the 1 attack, and it would just knock off that point of armor you got, so you'd be at an even trade. Warlock ability. Draw a card and take 2 damage. It's called Life Tap. It's useful for getting a card advantage, but it also can run the risk of getting you a bit low in health. Mage. We saw quite a bit of the hero power of Mage in action. Not much more I need to say there. And then there is the Cleric power, which restores 2 health to a target. Of, a lesser heal, that seems like something makes perfect sense for the priest. Also, a little bit interesting, is there are some spells that can, or at least minions I know of, actually, that basically put your priest into a kind of a shadow priest state, where your healing spells actually do damage, which kind of turns your hero power into a 2 damage to whatever target you want. So that's pretty awesome, actually. I guess that gives the priest a lot of options if you have the ability to turn his heals into damage in your deck. Okay, that is pretty comprehensively how the game works. There are a lot other little things I could go into, but I really just wanted to address all of the gameplay elements that I could think of that would allow you to enjoy my series as it continues. And you watch me play ranked matches against various human opponents and see how well I do, see how high I can climb up the ladder. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you found it informative, maybe leave it a like. If you have any questions, don't feel shy about leaving a comment asking anything that you want to know. And don't forget to subscribe to watch me as I try to climb the ranked ladder in Hearthstone here. And some other Hearthstone videos I have planned, like pack openings, and maybe I'll even have a few friends on and do some duels with them in Hearthstone. Who knows what the future has in store entirely. But until then, may the Force be with you.